You're listening to The World at 8 with Lynn Mozart. The World at 8, the number one in nationalist news.
Highlights of the news today, Monday 7th of April 2014. Illegal workers at Taj Mahal Spice restaurant in Whitchurch, Dorset. Muslim killers receive additional 6 years for jailhouse jihad. Charity Commission opens statutory inquiry into Muslim aid charity. 6 admits sham marriage racket in Black Country. Francis Le Pen bans non-pork meals in schools. No halal meat in town canteens, National Front Mayor. Greeks become poorer despite working longest hours. Donetsk officials proclaim independence from Kiev. Thought for the day, old age or nappism for short. And finally, broom marriage, that is male and female brooms, as in the Bible. UK news. Illegal workers at Taj Mahal Spice restaurant in Whitchurch, Dorset have been arrested at an Indian restaurant on the outskirts of Whitchurch, Dorset following an operation by Home Office Immigration Enforcement. Acting on intelligence, officers visited Taj Mahal Spice at Prees Heath at 6 p.m. on Friday, where individuals were questioned to check if they had the right to be in the UK. Officers arrested 4 men at the restaurant, aged between 29 and 67, 3 of whom were found hiding in a loft at the top of the building. All 4 men had overstayed their visas and were placed on immigration bail pending removal from the country. The business was served a notice warning that a civil penalty of up to £10,000 per illegal worker arrested will be imposed unless proof is provided that the correct right-to-work checks were carried out. This is a potential total of up to £40,000. World at 8, yup, if they pay. Muslim killers receive additional 6 years for jailhouse jihad. 2 Muslim killers who threatened to behead a prison officer after staging a jailhouse jihad at one of Britain's highest security prisons were jailed for an extra 6 years. Feroz Khan, 26, and Fawad Awali, 26, tried to take over HMP Full Sutton near York 4 days after the barbaric murder of Fusilier Lee Rigby. He stormed out of prayer service after the Imam dared to offer his condolences to the soldier's family and visited every Muslim prisoner in a bid to start an Islamic uprising. The pair targeted prison guard Richard Thompson, believing him to be ex-British military, and demanded the release of hate preacher Abu Qatada. World at 8. Wall, gun and bury bodies in pigskins or send them home in pigskin. Charity Commission opens statutory inquiry into Muslim aid charity. The regulator has been monitoring Al-Fatiha Global after a newspaper printed a picture allegedly showing a volunteer posing with 2 masked gunmen. The Charity Commission has opened a statutory inquiry into the Muslim aid charity Al-Fatiha Global because of serious concerns about its financial management and governance. The regulator said last month that it was monitoring concerns about the Worcester-based charity, which provides aid to Syria and works in Burma, Kashmir and Palestine, after the Sun newspaper published an article on its front page which it said showed Adil Ali, a volunteer for the charity, posing with 2 masked gunmen. World at 8, no change there then. 6 admits sham marriage racket in Black Country. 4 men and 2 women appeared at Wolverhampton Crown Court and pleaded guilty to charges relating to a suspected fake wedding operation which police smashed in a series of dawn raids in October. Mohammed Akhtar, aged 27, of Dunstall Road, Wolverhampton, admitted 11 counts of conspiring to facilitate the commission of a breach of UK immigration law by a non-EU person. Leon Horvat, 20, also Dunstall Road, pleaded guilty to 1 count of conspiring to facilitate the commission of a breach of UK immigration law by a non-EU person, 1 count of participating in a sham marriage and 1 count of conspiring to arrange a sham marriage. Ishwajot Singh, 25, of Highfield Road, Smethwick, admitted conspiring to facilitate a sham marriage. Sandeep Buller, 27, of Tamworth Road, Crawley near Coventry, pleaded guilty to conspiring to facilitate the commission of a breach of UK immigration law by a non-EU person. All charges relate to events which happened between October the 20th, 2012 and October 13th, 2013. All 4 defendants were remanded in custody to appear in court at a later date. Polish national Marcin Cieslak, 32, of Dunstall Road, admitted to conspiring to facilitate the commission of a breach of UK immigration law by a non-EU person. Ingrid Monova, 35, of Bright Street, admitted a similar offence. Both defendants were granted conditional bail and their cases adjourned. World at 8. Deport them all forthwith and their families. A stronger message must be sent out as these people are extracting the Michael. European news. France's Le Pen banned non-pork meals in schools. Leader of France's National Front Party says schools should not pander to Jewish and Muslim children by offering non-pork alternatives for lunch. School canteens will no longer offer non-pork meal options in towns where France's anti-immigration Front National party won local elections. Its leader, Marine Le Pen, has said, "World at 8, we need to do this over here pronto, or rather immediatement. No halal meat in town canteens, National Front Mayor. A newly elected National Front Mayor in a town in southern France has vowed that no municipally run cafeterias will serve halal meals, adding fuel to a growing controversy in the wake of the National Front's success in last month's local elections. The mayor, Robert Ménard, whose campaign was backed by Marine Le Pen and her National Front Party, told RTL Radio that any town establishments that serve halal will cease to do so immediately. You must always give people the choice to avoid eating foods that they don't want or cannot eat due to their religious convictions. That said, there will be no halal meals in municipal cafeterias, Ménard said. RTL noted that there is no official data available on which schools in BZEs, if any, serve halal meat to students who dine in the cafeterias. Ménard's comments come just days after National Front Party leader Marine Le Pen told RTL Radio that nearly a dozen French cities captured by her party would not allow religious requirements to dictate the composition of school lunches. Greeks become poorer despite working longest hours. Despite Greeks working the longest hours in Europe, poverty in the country became more acute in 2013, according to the European Commission's quarterly review on employment and social situation, made public here on Monday and published by ANAMA MPA. In addition, further reforms of the tax and benefit system in 2012-2013 reduced incomes in all or most households in Greece and Portugal. The at-risk of poverty rate recorded the biggest rise in Greece in 2011-2013. The main reason for the decline was tax increases, pension reductions and the limited impact of social protection expenditure. The Polish came second with 42.5 hours, followed by Cypriots 42.4 hours, Portuguese 42.2 hours and Austrians 42.15 hours. The fewest hours are worked by the Finns 39.7, Hungarians 39.8 and the French 40. In January 2014 a total of 3.1 million young people aged 15 to 24 were hit by the unemployment in the EU. World news. Donetsk officials proclaim independence from Kiev. The eastern Ukrainian city of Donetsk has reportedly declared itself independent from the central government in Kiev and set a date for a referendum on joining Russia, according to local media reports. The local government building was taken over Sunday night by pro-Russian activists, and today members of the regional legislature moved to declare the city and its surrounds the Donetsk People's Republic, the Russian news agency Itar TASS reported. The Ukrainian Prime Minister denounced the creation of a separatist state, describing it as part of a Russian plan to invade the east of the country. Arseniy Yatsenyuk told an emergency meeting of cabinet an anti-Ukrainian plan is being put into operation, under which foreign troops will cross the border and seize the territory of the country. He added, "We will not allow this." In a series of developments which appear to show Donetsk following in the footsteps of Crimea, politicians at a session of the Regional Council reportedly passed a piece of legislation entitled An Act on State Sovereignty of the Donetsk People's Republic. In the same session, legislators have also apparently passed a decision in favour of holding a referendum on joining the Russian Federation, to be held no later than the 11th of May. Chancellor Angela Merkel's spokesman Stefan Seibert said, "The latest developments in Donetsk and in Kharkiv are something which we are all very worried about in the German government. We must urgently renew our appeal to all those in positions of responsibility to help stabilise the region and avoid such escalation." Thought for the day. Old equals negative ageism propaganda. Old age? Poppycock. Nationalists don't get old or fade away, they go out with a bang for sure. Now moi here hasn't yet got used to the fact that my body doesn't match my brain age, which is around 14 years old. I still do not view myself as getting on, over the hill, losing it, or that dreaded and hurtful word, old. In the English language, so often not spoken as what it should be spoke, the word old denotes past it, sold by, and useless unless very old or very rich antique, and then all your family are waiting for you is your eventual demise to the Elysian fields, paradise, Valhalla, purgatory, or probably in my case being a nationalist, amongst the denizens of hell. Ever since I hit the 50 mark I've been binning the saga mags and offers, the insurance scams which only cost £2 a month, the hearing aids, the panties to piss in comfortably, the rest cushions, the blankets which you wrap round yourself in the absence of being able to afford heating and promptly trip over trying to answer the bloody phone, the foot cushion which is a subject of a wide variety of tortures for the really infirm, walkers, chairlifts, special showers to sit in, glasses churned out by the People's Republic of China for slitty eyes, awful slippers from the same in which the right foot is no different to the left foot, make-up mirrors for eyes, awful plum and turquoise pull-on slacks and many more abominations reserved for and paid for by the elderly. This is the price the West puts on people who have grown up, the baby boomers, the grandparents of today who have worked and paid into a society which promised their end of days would be peaceful and free from stress. The harder they worked, the more they saved, the more their offspring got when they carked it. Nowadays in the UK, due to the multicultural heaven and total enrichment in most areas, usually by ethnics who have little or no appreciation of our elderly, whilst they're busy either making money out of them or bringing in their own to cash in on our formerly wonderful healthcare system, the true British elderly are not only falling by the wayside from the immigration point of view, but now, wonder of wonders, our media, oblivious to the end of favouritism of course, are cashing in as well. In a Tonight programme wrongly entitled Looking After Mum and Dad, bringing down the title to the people of course, what happened to mothers and fathers, Mars or Pars, or indeed Mater and Pater, to make it way off beam for most viewers? It did not really cover the actual looking after of one's elderly relatives, but harped on the facts dished out by the School of Common Purpose that old people are no further use to the state, no need in bothering about them, all encompassed in a quasi-compassion mode of reporting negative anti-ageist propaganda, or nappy for short. Very apt, I believe. And probably swallowed with as much enthusiasm as football and reality TV. I watched because I knew what to expect. A duplicitous menage of worry and stress directed towards, yup, you guessed, the present generations. The worry being of course from the government that all our elderly, British white of course unspoken, are getting older, living longer, having to go into care homes, don't have the money to pay when all their house monies or savings have gone to the state or home, and of course their numbers are increasing rather like migrant numbers by the day. Oh, woe is me, I'm having a crisis of conscience already in actually living past 50, let alone functioning. And this is a subliminal message. Kill the elderly off, either by letting them die, none resuscitation, cut back on care in the home, which is a laugh anyway, and better still get them post-haste into a state-run care home and you can get more money out of them that way, especially if you run that care home with cheap foreign labour, crappy food and even worse attention. You, or the usually Asian-owned conglomerates that run them, will be in the money. Just how much money does it take to import a Filipino to wipe arses? Probably much more than it would or did a Brit to take the job, which they used to in the past. We have, contrary to Marxist common purpose, not always been a country of immigrants and foreigners, although that is what at least 3 generations of state-schooled university retards think. In fact, this programme did not highlight the foreign-born elderly, which crowd out the A&E departments and the GP surgeries nowadays, in many, if not most, regions of this country. Now, these are the people who have never paid in 1 penny to our NHS systems, not a one. Hospitals are being crowded out with maternity cases which take precedent over the elderly. Fine if they were English babies, but they're not. They are babies of all colours and ethnicities but English. The mantra from our establishment is clear for all to see, if not understand. Reduce the elderly white population or else successive generations of ethnics will have to pay for them, and we can't have that, can we? And yet we elderly are supposed to pay for the migrant elderly, ill, babies, HIV cases, leprosy, TB, smallpox, various religious mutilations, co-joined brats, wounded from Afghanistan or Iraq, and in truth anyone of a different colour that has chosen to come here and play at being British to get what they want. However, we oldies, once we cannot pay any more into the system for these foreigners, are forbidden by the establishment to have any sort of standard of living or say so in what are the last decades of our lives. And make no mistake, the media and government-backed think tanks are all reading off the same page here, and it doesn't make happy reading. The one and only true sentence that went out amidst the negative anti-age propaganda was that our children and grandchildren will not be able to get on the property ladder in order for them to qualify for not only helping their old relatives but themselves when they grow older. And this is true. And why, you may ask yourself, though I doubt whether anyone really did this in Sheepsville, Barbar Land, UK. This is because immigration is taking all our land and available houses from us, and various governments are being exhorted to build on yet more arable land to house yet more immigrants to come. Don't think for a minute that any one of the main three parties and the lag-along UKIPers will do anything about this. They won't. The ethnic vote is too powerful now, but then it was always supposed to be that way. For the last 3 decades a relentless and steady message has gone out, and it is almost out of the Marxist textbooks, in how to reduce a country and its population to a controllable factor. The only difference so far is that unlike Stalin, we have stopped short of actual physical genocide, but have gone about it with a very clever and hidden agenda. Illuminati and New World Order, take note. Also note these actions are promoted by TV and the media in some form or another to make them appear normal courses of action, alias for the good of the people. Voluntary euthanasia, for the sick whether mentally ill or physically, for the no-hopers and for the detritus of society. Immediate abortions for white babies, in the form of the morning after pill and established clinics, alias abortion without question or responsibility. Adoption after birth is not encouraged as it would affect the ethnic growth stats for the UK. Our elderly, encouraged to die or put themselves out of society into homes run by the state or large corporations. Made to feel superfluous at an age in which they should still be useful. Younger generations made to dislike them for still living and for the fear they may be liable financially for them. You must remember we are talking of the me generations here, all propagandised for years. Disintegration of the family and family values speaks for itself. Parents split up, divorce is made easy, single mothers get more help than married mothers, families are encouraged to move away from their roots, which is stupid in a country as small as ours, ostensibly for work, whilst we pay exorbitant amounts of money for new roads and railways. Lots of media news on Alzheimer's and senile dementia. In fact, although we know different, the old adage is coming up trumps in that people are living longer and all are going to go batty, undermining the already undermined elderly in our country. The truth is we are apparently living some 10 years longer on average, and they have had a cure or something near to it for years for Alzheimer's, which they are holding back on. But then, like the everlasting electric light bulb and the non-cancerous fags, they simply do not come to light. Why? Because too many of the white Western Christian people would survive, and this does not suit the Zogs or their lackeys, because our government or state does not want a healthy white ageing population who have been taught to think for themselves and not to believe everything they read in the Daily Mail or see on the TV. Go to http://www.nrimed.com for the video and information from Australia for perispinal enterocerat. Try saying that one. It's obvious to even our sheeples that blacks and Muslims are encouraged to come and stay here tout famille as well. Most of the EU migrants not making the anti-immigrant headlines are Eastern Europeans, Muslims and Romas, and Africans and Arabs that travel from and through the EU countries. The New World Order is busy looking after and funding these people and won't stretch to looking after us. The last thing that is wanted is the prime thing that is needed in this land. White, middle class or working class, mature and financially sound persons. Not crippled with worry or stress or simply forgotten by society, misdiagnosed with dementia and put somewhere that makes them go senile quicker, and appreciated by not only their own kith and kin but able to live near each other if help should be needed, alias as in days of old. Now we are a Marxist dream come true. True genocide means killing off the sick and the elderly, preventing babies from a certain ethnicity being born, propagandising the remaining subjects to believing what they see is good for them, and preparing a country with a clean sweep of the original culture and replacement with a new culture or cultures. It means breaking up and breaking down family and all things associated with a united society. It means war on any existing religion in that country and its adherents. Opposition will not be tolerated, alias a true fascist state. This programme made me feel old, unwanted, unloved and unnecessary, just as it was supposed to do. And worse, made me feel worried about my future in my twilight years. In short, it did its job superbly. Finally, two brooms joke. Two brooms were hanging in the closet and after a while they got to know each other so well they decided to get married. One broom was of course the bride broom and the other the groom broom. The bride broom looked very beautiful in her white dress. The groom broom was handsome and suave in his tuxedo. The wedding was lovely. After the wedding at the wedding dinner, the bride broom leaned over and said to the groom broom, "I think I'm going to have a little broom." "Impossible," said the groom broom. Are you ready for this? Brace yourself. This is going to hurt. "We haven't even swept together." This presenter says boom boom groom. You've been listening to The World at 8. I am Lynn Mozart and I wish you all a very good night. Greeks become poorer despite working longest hours. Donetsk officials proclaim independence from Kiev. Thought for the day, old age or napism for short. And finally, broom marriage, that is male and female brooms as in the Bible. UK news. Illegal workers at Taj Mahal Spice restaurant in Whitchurch, Dorset have been arrested at an Indian restaurant on the outskirts of Whitchurch, Dorset 2014. Illegal workers at Taj Mahal Spice restaurant in Whitchurch, Dorset. Muslim killers receive additional 6 years for jailhouse jihad. Charity Commission opens statutory inquiry into Muslim aid charity. 6 admit sham marriage racket in Black Country. Francis Le Pen bans non-pork meals in schools. No halal meat in town canteens, National Front Mayor. Following an operation by Home Office Immigration Enforcement. Acting on intelligence, officers visited Taj Mahal Spice at Prees Heath at 6 p.m. on Friday, where individuals were questioned to check if they had the right to be in the UK. Officers arrested 4 men at the restaurant, aged between 29 and 67, 3 of whom were found hiding in a loft at the top of the building. All 4 men had overstayed their visas and were placed on immigration bail pending removal from the country.
You're listening to The World at 8 with Lynn Mozart. The World at 8, the number 1 in nationalist news.
Highlights of the news today, Monday 7th of April. The business was served a notice warning that a civil penalty of up to £10,000 per illegal worker arrested will be imposed unless proof is provided that the correct right to work checks were carried out. This is a potential total of up to £40,000. World at 8, yup, if they pay. Muslim killers receive additional 6 years for jailhouse jihad.